wanted to record today's message that I wanted to share with all of you so that I could share it everywhere. It's a really, really important message that has come out of having so many incredible conversations now up to date with the women who I have been having on the Sisterhood podcast. And one of the things that I'm realizing is that most of the women that I'm having on the podcast have a really healthy outlook when it comes to competition and when it comes to comparison. And they all want to support other women, and they all have this belief, like deep to their core, that there is enough to go around for everyone. And I was having a conversation last week with one of the women who is going to be on the show shortly. Her name is Cami, and we were talking about this a little bit more in depth about women supporting other women and the importance of, really connecting with other women and how we can lift each other up and how powerful that is and how magical that is. And I just wrote down and I'm like, God, it's exhausting to spend our lives being caught up in this comparison, being caught in that trap of comparison, and then always feeling like we have to compete with one another. There's nothing wrong with competition. It's just so often competition isn't healthy because it's coming from a place of, I need to win, I need to get this, I need to get the success, because if I don't get it and you do, there's not enough to go around for everyone. There's not enough for me. So you having it means I can't. And it made me think, like, God, like in competition, even athletes take breaks. Like, shouldn't we as women just take a break from this unhealthy competition, this unhealthy comparison? And this morning I woke up, and like I always do, I write in my journal, and what came up for me intuitively, I got this intuitive hit to actually talk about what can we do to stop ourselves from comparing? We hear all the time, like, lift other women up and stop the comparison. And then, our brain kicks in and it's like, yeah, but how? This is such a habit for me. This is like programmed into my conscious and subconscious mind that it makes it like every time I see a woman have something that I think that I want or that I know that I want, I can't help but get caught in this comparison trap. So it made me think about, well, there is something we can do. We have to interrupt that pattern, if you will. We have to interrupt it. We have to do something that goes against our conditioning of getting caught up in this spiral of comparing, sorry. So then I thought, all right, let's do a challenge. This will be a really, really great way to actually put this into practice. So one of the things that I wrote down was, when you catch yourself caught in this comparison trap, find a way to lift that woman up. Okay. So by some of the ideas that came to my mind when I was writing was, share her post. If she has a business, if she's launching something, if she's sharing something, if she just wrote a blog, if she just shared a podcast, she just released a workshop, she's whatever that might be, share her post. If it aligns with your values. If it doesn't align with your values, it's okay for you not to share it. Maybe just write her a little message, words of encouragement, like, good for you. This is so phenomenal. I'm rooting for you. So when you feel like you're comparing yourself to that woman, if it's online, find a way to, again, interrupt that pattern of comparison where you walk away and you just feel like crap. Lift her up, encourage her, share her post, whatever that might be. Ask questions, ask more questions. Like, I'd love to know more about this. I'd love to know what direction you're taking this in. If you disagree, instead of judgment or shaming, ask more questions. Really get that conversation going. There's so many things that you can do. If you're in a work environment with another woman, you can also encourage her there. You can support her there. You're in a meeting together and she has this really great idea. Instead of sitting there being like, oh my God, I wish that was my idea. And, and then you start to get trapped in that comparison loop. Give her a shout out in the meeting, like, oh my God, great idea. That was wonderful. Wish I would have thought of that. Like, kudos to you. Really send those words of encouragement out. So often, even though you see a woman online or you see a woman in the workforce or wherever you're seeing these women, you think, look at the confidence she has. I guarantee she's sitting there being like, oh my God, that was so scary. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I just said that. I wish I had more confidence. She's in the exact same space as you are. So those are really great ways to tell your brain that there's enough to go around for everyone. And also to remind yourself, so I'm looking at my notes because I don't want to miss anything because I had all this juicy intuition come through this morning, that her having it doesn't mean you can't. And that is usually often why we get caught in this comparison trap and why we don't have the mental and emotional freedom around this very uncomfortable feeling of comparison. She has it now, I can't. We don't feel safe. It triggers this like unsafe response. And now we feel like, oh my God, I'm never going to have that thing, which is just so not true. So you want to tell your brain how you would prefer it to respond. So by interrupting the pattern, by just, okay, for the next week, you're going to challenge yourself to encourage other women, to support other women. If you see a woman at the grocery store and she seems to be struggling, ask her, would you like some help? I see that you have your hands full. Wherever it may be, just find ways to lift another woman up, to support another woman, to encourage another woman. Send messages of encouragement, send little emails, send text to your friends, whoever it may be. I promise you, even if you don't think that they will care because they don't know you, trust me, they care. They care. It's not always easy to put ourselves online. So send those words of encouragement. Here's another one. If you're looking at a woman online or in the workplace, wherever you are, and you feel like all this discomfort comes up inside of you and you start to compare and you start to judge and you start to judge her and you start to judge yourself and going in this spiral, right? It's always this loop when we go down the rabbit hole. I want you to ask yourself, do I even want this? That is really important. I have found myself, there's this influencer online that I follow and I love her content. She just like creates really beautiful content and she shares a lot of her experience. And one day I could feel myself getting caught up in that comparison. And I asked myself, I'm like, do you even want that thing that she has in that moment of the thing that she was sharing? And when I really got honest with myself, I was like, oh my God, I don't even want that. I'm literally comparing myself to her and judging myself and coming down hard on myself for something I don't even want. So really connect with that. I actually talk about this in detail in my workshop, Creating Heart-Centered Goals, really getting clear, and I take you through practices on gaining that clarity, on really figuring out what you want, listening to your emotional authority, listening to your sacral authority, really connecting to what you want, trusting your intuition and strengthening that, because sometimes we're told so often what we should want, that we think we should want it, but we don't actually want it. So my Heart-Centered Goals workshop is just a digital workshop online. You can take it at your own pace, self-guided, beautiful workbook, lots of beautiful graphics as well. So it's visually appealing, will really help you with that if you're really struggling with, oh my God, I don't even know what I want. But the first place you could start is just, do I even want that when you're experiencing that feeling? This is all about really feeling safe, right? You want to tell your mind that you're safe. You want to tell your body that you're safe. And that's often why we come on the attack. That's often why we judge. That's often why we we shame or we go right to that like negative attack is just because it's a way to keep ourselves safe. We're protecting ourselves from experiencing that emotional discomfort by sending it out somewhere externally instead of just connecting within and being like, yeah, that's a really shitty feeling. I don't want to feel that way anymore, but I don't want her to feel that way either. So those words of encouragement. Yeah. Okay. What else? It also gives you emotional freedom, a sense of hope. Yes, I wrote that down this morning. When we do this, when we send words of encouragement to other women, when we support other women, encourage other women, when we support other women, when we help other women, just by simply saying like, how can I help? Do you need my help? This gives you this emotional feeling, this freedom and this sense of hope that, oh my God, I don't have to compete in an unhealthy way. There is enough to go around for everyone. And you do that for her too. You give her that sense of hope as well, knowing that she's being supported by another woman. There's so much power in that. There's so much magic in that. We need each other. We need this sisterhood. That's why it's so magical. That's why it's so powerful. That's why external forces out there don't want us to have that, because there is so much power, so much magic that comes when women come together to support, guide, and help and encourage each other. So that's our challenge for the week. All right. Yeah. Share her post, encourage her, support her, words of encouragement, whatever you can do to just redirect those negative thoughts that you get caught up in, of unhealthy competition, I'm not good enough, comparisonitis. Just flip it around and give her something awesome, something that you would want for yourself as well. And that's your challenge. If you're not caught up in comparison, do it anyway. Send words of encouragement and send love and send support, and just lift other women up, because again, that is where the power and the magic lies for you, for me, for all of us, and everyone in our lives as well, men and women. So I'm sending you all so much love. Have an amazing week. And if you want to take if you want to take that workshop that I mentioned, all the links for everything, all my workshops, all the freebies, the podcast, all of it are in the right below in the link or in my bio. I love you.